Welcome, Annie Collins here for the Makers Movement. Today we'll be creating this interactive Christmas card. Let's go over the products I used to create this card. From the Makers Movement, we're using Christmas Cheer Stampin' Die Set. This stamp contains an image of Santa, 3 stars, and 3 sentiments, like here to spread Christmas cheer, ho ho ho, and from Santa. The Santa has its own coordinating die, but then you have 2 dies for the stars and the snowflake die. You also have a gift die and the dies to create this little bow. You can create the bow with or without the long tails. I created this one off screen just to show you here, but I'll create one with you for our project. So like I said, this also has the present die, and that comes in 2 pieces. Well, it's one die, but it'll cut 2 pieces. It'll cut your lid and your bottom portion of your gift. I'm going to cut it again today for our pattern paper. I did this twice because the pattern paper isn't so thick, so I cut it from some cardstock as well to back our pattern paper. We're going to create a 4x4 top folding card, and this is out of 110 card base in white. We're going to use some Memento ink in black, in Tuxedo black, and VersaFine in Onyx black for our sentiment. A variety of Opaque markers, and from Makers Movement, our Shaker Sprinkles and Peppermint Twist to accent our card. And we're going to use our mini maker to die cut the things we need today. Alright, so we're going to stamp our image onto accent 80-pound opaque white ultra smooth cardstock. This is a Copic friendly cardstock. I'm using the gray bottom portion of my gift that I've die cut to do a little pencil line on this cardstock here that I have on the opaque white, so I know not to go past that space, because I'm going to use this as an interactive card, so I need to make sure not to go past the area that I need for oh my goodness, sorry, the words aren't coming, to fit behind my gift. Alright, so now that I've stamped my image, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment that says ho 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 in VersaMagic in red magic, and I'm going to place that just above Santa's hand here. I'm going to stamp it twice so I get a nice bright image. Alright, so now we're going to color our Santa. I'm going to put the colors on the screen, but I'll say them either way. For his face, I have E50, then E30, and then R30. This is not a lot of space here for his face and his ears, but I just wanted to give him nice color here. I'm putting a little R30 on his cheeks and his nose, and I'm blending that back out. For his beard, we're going to go with warm gray 1 and W3, which is warm gray also, and we're just going to fill in the space for his beard and his mustache and his eyebrows, and then I'm going to flick in some of the warm gray number 3. We're going with a warm color because of the brim of his hat and his coat will be white, so I'll be using the C1s for that. I'm using a little bit of colorless blender here to blend out a couple areas that got a little darker than I wanted. For his coat, I'm using R37 and R39. I went in with the R39 in the dark areas, and then I'll blend it out with the R37. I'm using that for his coat and his hat and his pants. I'm just sticking to simple 2 color blends here, except for the face. I did a little bit more. We'll go back in at a little more dark, and his pants, which I seem to have forgotten. There we go. So then we're going to go in and do his brim of his hat, his coat, and that's we're going to use the C1 and a little C2. For his belt and shoes, we use C6 and C7 and a little Y or 2 for his buckle. Alright, so now we're going to die cut again the gift. I'm going to do it from the pattern paper. I'm going to use our mini maker here. And our sandwich is the A, then the metal, and then the B to plate. So now we're going to also cut one of those tails for our bow. Again, running it through the mini maker. And here's our bow. I slowed this down so we can go over all the pieces. You have the top part of the bow, and it's this piece that looks like glasses. That's what it reminds me of. You have your 2 tails, which you can use whether you want to or not. And this is the center portion of your bow. I'm using some Tear tape here to adhere my bow together. You want to curl these little portions here, and you can see this little tab right there. That's what's going to adhere to the center of to create your bow. So I have a little tear tape there. I'm going to remove the backing of the adhesive, and I'm just going to adhere those little tabs down onto the center. Pinch them down, hold them in place, make sure they grab. And now there you have your top portion of your bow. To hide those tabs, you're going to use this little centerpiece for the middle of the bow. I'm just going to remove the backing, and you just center it and wrap it around your bow part here. And now you have a complete bow. So you can use it just like this. And I'm just curling those little ends. I got a little squish while I was adding the thing, but that's all right. You can use it like this on a package, or you can add the tails. To add the tails, you're just going to add a little adhesive to each of the tops of the tails. I'm going to use some little tear tape here real quick on each of them. And then you're going to remove this, put it on one. I remove the backing. And then you're going to adhere your second one just at an angle, creating that like upside down V shape. And then you're going to add another piece of the tear tape or adhesive of your choice, and then remove the backing, and then you're going to add that to the back of your bow. To adhere it to your project, just add some adhesive to the back of your bow. So I'm using Rinea foil paper here in Starstruck Ruby Red. That paper holds its shape. Alright, so let's continue back to our project. I'm going to adhere the die cut bottom portion of our gift to the cardstock. So now it's nice and firm. And I'm going to do the same thing to our lid. I'm just going to adhere it. I'm using a little liquid glue here. I'm using some art glitter glue to adhere our pieces. So now we have our top and bottom of our gift, and I'm going to trim away all the extra paper here, and I'm going to double check because I want this to slide in and out. So I know I can have a little bit extra here on the side, so I'm going to trim that off. And now I'm going to check again, make sure I have enough space around the edges. And now I will need to measure how much I need to cut off for my lid. I know I'm going to adhere the lid to that Santa piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to mark it lightly with my pencil so I know to leave a little extra on the top. Alright, so I'm going to clear all this out of our way. I'm going to bring in the lid portion only, and I'm going to adhere that to that top part of this cardstock here with our image. Just putting a little bit of glue, and I'm going to do my best to center this on here. And I'll check it. I'll just butt that bottom portion against it. Make any adjustments. I just want it as even as possible on both sides. And straight. Alright, so I'm going to check it again. Looks pretty good. So now I've cut some of our double-sided adhesive foam to small strips. And I'm going to put one on the top of our gift here, but before I put the bottom portions of the foam adhesive, I'm going to stamp our sentiment that says, "Here to spread Christmas cheer." And I'm going to color in. It has little hollies on either end, or either side of the sentiment, and I'm going to color those in with some Copic markers. I did G05 for the leaves, and for the berries, I just used the R37. So now I have those little thin strips that I cut down of our foam adhesive again. And I'm just removing the backing and adding it just to either side of our package. I mean, these are really thin. I cut them really thin, so they're a little finicky. And I want them right up against the edge of that. Just making sure you don't go past it and none of it is showing. But you want it right up on the edge. Alright, so now I'm going to show you. That's going to slide there. That'll keep it in place. And now we have some on the lid, and you're thinking, well, won't that adhere? I'm going to put some anti-static tool powder on that. I just need it for the height. I want it to be even on the height. So I'm just going to put a little anti-static powder on our foam adhesive on the top, and I run some across the bottom of the card as well, because I wanted our card to move nicely in and out. So now we're going to adhere our bow, but the tails are too long and they cover my sentiment. So I'm just going to remove our tails that we added before, and I'm going to just adhere the bow to our package. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and adhere our present to our card base. And I'm leaving our card nice and white. We have enough color with our Santa and our pattern paper and our bow. So I'm going to adhere this. So I lost some of the adhesive sticky on my foam adhesive. So I added a little bit of glue just to make sure it stayed there. And I'm going to check to make sure our Santa can move in and out nicely. There's no glue getting in his way. And now I'm going to add a little bead of glue on the center of my lid and attach our bow. I'm going to press it there, give it a second to hold and stay in place while I adhere some of our embellishments. So I'm going to use the Peppermint Twist shaker sprinkles, and these are nice clay embellishments. I was going to say adhesive, clay embellishments. And I'm going to use some of the peppermints, and then the rest I'm going to use the little green and red and white little sprinkles. So this is like, you know, he's popping out and there's all that little confetti coming out of the package. So it's nice and festive. So I'm going to just add them all to the sides. I want to stay clear of the mechanics here. So I don't have any towards the top there. I know it looks a little plain, but that would interfere with our Santa moving in and out. I may go back and add some of the little stars on there. I haven't decided yet. Alright, so now I'm going to add one little peppermint, and now our card is complete. So now I can use the bow to pull out Santa, and he pops out saying ho ho ho. And this is a nice size to add a little gift card inside, and that's what I'm going to do. Give it to one of my kids for Christmas. So it's a perfect card. Now you know that in mailing it, your bow will get a little squish, but it's easily fixed. So today we use our double-sided foam adhesive, which I cut into strips, our Christmas cheer stamp and die set. We used our Santa, the 2 sentiments, and our gift box, and the bow die, the Peppermint Twist die, shaker sprinkles, the VersaMagic and Red Magic for the ho 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 sentiment, and our other inks for our sentiment and for our coloring, and some Opaque markers, of course, to color in our image. This is a fun interactive card, quick and easy to make. So I would like to thank you for being here today. As always, I'll have everything linked in the description box below for you, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you. Have a great